And we're back with another episode of Two Bros, One Beard. I'm John, here with my bro Michael.
How do?
And we got another review for you. This one from the Finnish melodic death metal band Insomnium. This is their new record, Anno 1696. It was released just recently here on February 24th. And this is their 9th studio album. And it was released on Century Media Records. And yeah, I think the same lineup as the last record. And this was a band, another one for me. We just got done talking about Enslaved. Another band that, I mean, I've definitely been familiar with over the years. And I'm a huge fan of like Dark Tranquillity and In Flames. And lesser degree, like At the Gates. So the melodic death metal sound, definitely a fan of, but hadn't really taken the time to dive into these guys. But we were just talking about how like our Facebook feed just been ad about
yeah, I know.
And well, I mean, we follow Century Media and groups like that, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't it wasn't from Century Media. It was like its own thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like just an ad, you know.
Yeah. Well, good for them. I mean, that's how you do it, I guess. But yeah, it's yeah, just right off the bat, I just want to say, man, I absolutely and fallen in love with this record. I think it's tremendous. Can't stop listening to it. And I think what really sold me is I was noticing kind of just this thread of music videos that were coming out and just got intrigued by it because, you know, from some of the song titles, I was like, okay, what's this about? And, you know, started checking it out and then exploring the storyline a bit more, listened to a couple of the band members break it down. And yeah, so, I mean, basically in a nutshell, without giving away the whole story, I certainly don't fully comprehend it yet because it is, you know, written down in one of the releases, and I'm waiting on my copy to come in the mail. But it's takes place in the year 1696. I'm assuming in Finland, perhaps even Sweden. But what I know from history is that during that time period there was a mass famine, and I think they were dealing with, you know, some really awful weather and stuff like that, and the religious fervor of that time, similar to kind of like what we had in the States in the like the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
Was that the kind of the more pious religious types were blaming the I don't know what the right word is, like the
non-religious, I guess.
Well, yeah, the pagans, if you will, or the folks that were certainly already living there, you know, I'm trying to say like native folks to that region, and so there was you know, it's well documented just the amount of bloodshed and, you know, killing of women and children and anyone kind of accused of heresy or witchcraft. And so they were seeking these folks out and taking them out. So
important to understand that this wasn't unique to like the United States. There was
it certainly wasn't.
All around the world.
So the story kind of starts off in the title track 1696, takes you into the story about kind of what's going on in the region and kind of painting that picture of the fact that it was, you know, far away from, you know, they refer to the White Christ or to the church and stuff like that. And you know, of course, what they seem to mean by that is that this was sort of the banner that these, you know, religious zealots were carrying. I know certainly not the Jesus I know about in the Bible. You know, they came up with their own ideas and they thought this is how they needed to handle things, which is, you know, terrible. But that's sort of the picture it's painting. And there's another character who is a detective, and that's kind of what the song God Forsaken is about, is he's sort of starting to investigate what's happening in this region. I think what happens from there is he falls in love with a woman who I'm guessing is one of the witches, and he tries to protect her. And then there's kind of the, of course, you know, bittersweet and kind of a tragic ending of the whole thing. But it's kind of cool in that, you know, as far as concept records go, it really sets up like, you know, 1696 is the setting of the story. White Christ is sort of like, okay, here's our antagonists. And then God Forsaken is like the protagonist, and then kind of where they go from there and where they meet and the events kind of transpire from there, which is really cool. But yeah, so just getting back to the music, I mean, I definitely would say from the other Insomnium works I've listened to, certain aspects of this record definitely have that consistent sound. These guys have been really, really consistent across their 20 plus years. But what I think it offers too is some really new flavors. And from folks I've listened to who really know this band, they've said the same thing, and they've really incorporated a lot of different types of elements. And
yeah, for sure.
You know, the opening is super cool because I mean it's their guitarist, what's his name, Marcus Van Alla, who's also from Omnium Gatherum. He was talking about how he was inspired by the music in Vikings, and kind of that really kind of jangly guitar sound and kind of the marching. You know, it's like almost like the opening to Frozen. No, but
yeah.
but it definitely has that kind of feel to it, and then it gets into the heavier parts. And White Christ has a guest vocal spot, which is kind of interesting, just to kind of juxtapose the two voices.
Yeah.
But Godforsaken, that was the first track I sent you, bro.
Yep.
And also another guest vocalist, and it's a female singer. Oh, let's see if I can find her name here. Joanna Kirkala. And to me, just a beautiful track. I mean, all around. I mean, her voice, the way it kind of weaves in and out, and just the progression of this song. You know, it's an 8.5-minute track. But really just blew my mind about this track is when it gets to the let me pull that up. So
you got the sound, huh?
Did that come through?
It came through, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason lyrics aren't pulling up for me, but there's, you know, it really has that long ramp up, and then it's just brutal for a while. But then it's like out of nowhere, the clean vocals come in, and it's talking about, you know, when hope is found, or that kind of idea. And it's just like, so I was driving, right? It was kind of raining. The sky was dark, and I was just like, okay, I'm into this. And then like that part came in, and I'm not kidding, my car started to kind of like levitate a little bit as but it felt like that, man.
Like
I was
that
like
scene in Harry Potter where like the car.
yeah, my spirit left my body for a moment. It was no, but I mean, I was blown away. I was like, okay, sold. You know, I'm ready. I'm investing in the rest of this journey.
I was hovering over my own body, watching myself listen to this song.
I felt like I was hovering above my own body watching myself sing.
Yeah. And so the other track I sent you, bro, was The Unrest, which is entirely kind of clean song, ballad for them. And I think that's kind of a unique thing for them this go around. So tell me your thoughts on those couple tracks, bro.
All right. Well, yeah, so Godforsaken was the first one you sent me. And just to reiterate, not a fan of extreme metal or death metal, just not my thing.
I did not like that at all.
Well, maybe a little bit of it, of that vocal style, like on in between a Camelot song or something, but that's about it. But this song had some nice layers to it. I appreciated the fact that the female vocals diluted the heaviness a little bit for me. And then it had this album had a lot of different sounds. You said this is a Finnish band. Is that what you said?
That's correct.
But I almost felt like there was like a Middle Eastern influence in this song.
On Godforsaken, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was unique. It didn't feel like a European band.
Right.
And then the riff, I thought the main riff was great. It reminded me a little bit of Iced Earth. And then the song the song transitions into almost like it felt like a dark Western film or something, where the whispering growl vocals were really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting song. It was, I was able to get through it. You know, I enjoyed it a little bit. And then on The Unrest, this also reminded me of it had a Western vibe to it. So it almost didn't feel like a Finnish band. Almost like at the ending of a Western, as the main character, kind of strolls off into the sunset and the credits roll. That's what I envisioned. And I like the combination of the clean vocals. It seemed like there was a different vocalist singing in the background. And then there was
there's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple guys that do the clean singing. And
and then the main vocalist, it's almost that whisper growl style.
Right.
And then this song had a nice melody to it. A lot of the, with this music, to me, it's just like sometimes it's just noise. This I could pick up on a catchy melody, which I liked. So
sure.
Yeah. It wasn't all bad for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this is it certainly is still a very heavy record
Yeah,
through and
it's
through.
heavy.
And I was kind of sharing with you, I mean, like production wise, it's interesting because there's definitely parts where I think as compared to like an In Flames or Dark Tranquility, Nilo, their vocalist, they don't necessarily push him way out into the forefront of the mix and really clean that up.
Yeah, that's true.
But what it kind of does to me is it almost kind of gives you like this real kind of just blanket of sound. There's vocals in there, there's guitars, drums, bass, everything else, keyboards. But I think purposefully it's a little bit at a kind of comparable level where it's just you need to take it all in as one sound.
Okay.
Thank goodness for lyric booklets and things like that, because I do want to know what's being communicated.
Yeah,
but
especially with the concept record, it's kind of important.
Yeah. I don't think that's entirely true on this whole record, but I mean, there's definitely parts of that to me where it's just sort of kind of just this big wash of sound, and that's a very black metal type thing, and there's certainly some of that influence from this band, and but yeah, it's pummelingly heavy, but it's also poignant and beautiful and tragic, and it's just all those things, and again, just given kind of this weird season we're having right now in the winter, not a whole lot of sun. I mean, man, it's starting to feel like the perfect music for the season. So
definitely melancholic for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm going with a 10 out of 10 on this one again.
Wow, 10 out of 10, huh?
Yeah. Yes. And also, we were talking about the new Enslaved. Both bands going out on tour together in the spring. So if you're a fan of either band, make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity to see both of them coming to.
Are they coming to the States too?
Coming to the States, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'll have to be checking that out. And but yeah, I mean, if you're a fan,
need your earplugs for that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some earplugs. Yeah. But yeah, if you're a fan of Insomnium, by all accounts, seems like they've definitely done it again, and really kind of hit the ball out of the park once more. So absolutely check this out if you're a fan. And bro, once again, thanks for taking some of this journey here with me and checking out some new music.
No problem.
So yeah, I think that's gonna about do it for us here. Another episode of Two Bros, One Beard. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Take care.